my boy.
My boy, what's going on?
How's it, brother? How are you, man?
Brother, very well, my man. How are you today?
Yeah, very well. Thanks, bud. Very well. I
Mm.
can see you. Well, it looks like you're suffering from the same issue as me. This hair flipping at the bottom of your hair.
Yes,
Yeah,
except that
see.
mine's on purpose like that, but to grow it long.
Yeah, mine too, Shana. I'm growing this as well. Remember, we spoke about it one of our other chats.
So you're going for the full name.
100%, bud. 100%. It's
Yes,
probably
man.
like here, maybe. This
Yes,
sort of length.
exactly. Cool.
Yes, brother.
Yes,
It's
buddy. The midlife crisis, bro, involves growing your hair long and yeah, and suddenly hitting the club scene again like you were 20.
yeah. Tell me about it, but yes, is well. How are you anyway, buddy? What's happening?
Yes, bud. It's happening, brother. On that dance floor, the BPM's at 172 BPM at the moment, brother. We're moving and shaking. The whole industry cruise wise is coming alive. And yeah, bud. So just doing my part in the world there.
That's awesome, my man. That's awesome. I was thinking of you yesterday. Actually, no, I was thinking of you. It was either yesterday or this morning. I can't remember, but I was on Twitter, and this guy posted this thing. He was talking about the coating of pans, like that you cook in, like how it's poisonous and stuff. And I always remember, literally, I don't know how, but it must have been 15 years ago. I can't remember, but like literally one of the first times I saw you after you'd come, you'd been in America for a while. And I think it was in Thailand. I think we was that trip years and years ago. And you're like, yeah, you must listen to this guy called Paul Check. And you gave me Paul Check, Tony Robbins, and whatever. And yes, see that Paul Check. And I was like, yeah, Paul Check said this on those files and audio files that Ryan sent me. And I was like, that's cool. It was just like a nice memory, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man. I remember that. It was a series that he did called You Are What You Eat.
Mm.
And I picked that seminar series of his up from a fitness conference that we had gone to in Las Vegas, a Swiss ball course, training course, led by a guy called Richard Sutton. He was a South African kinesiologist, but had trained personally under Paul Check. And so his Swiss ball course was based on the Czech Institute of Training. And so I heard of his name there. And then when I was in Vegas, they had a whole stand there, a whole Paul Check Institute stand. And that was the course I picked up because obviously on ships, one of the big things that we used to lecture on was nutrition and detoxification and this whole subject around, how toxins affects the body and all these sort of hidden chemicals in things like the pans that you cook in and the way that chemicals are hidden in the labels on food, like, oh, it's naturally flavored, but
Yeah.
natural flavors means that there could be 20 chemicals in there.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, I still remember that, but I've listened to that whole series about like 4 or 5 times actually. Yeah, I've still got it on my Dropbox, and I must listen again. And
Listen to
seriously,
it
it's
again.
yeah, because all of it to me is still 100% valid. Like I know things change, but like all of his stuff is definitely solid.
Yeah, he's way ahead of the game. Have you started listening to his podcast called 4D with Paul Check? Living
No.
4D. Fascinating, bro.
Okay, sweet. I must check it out. And yeah, just talking about like health and stuff, but I watched this other thing, just this like 1 minute video that someone sent on Telegram, like, and it really upset me, right? Like in a weird way, I'll tell you. But like, so basically, it was this girl. I think she's a Kiwi, right? And she's like, it was a TikTok video, and she's like, oh, I don't care that I'm fat. And I wanted to show you what I eat in a day. And yeah, see, but you should have seen what this girl ate in a day. It was frightening. But like the psychology around this is so crazy. These people are like, they're kind of like normalizing being like, I mean, she was big, you know what I mean? Like a big girl, like way overweight, like morbidly obese almost, I would say, right? Um, but they're really happy with that, you know, and then like you, people go like, oh, you can't say anything bad because it's fat shame and all that stuff. And I'm just like, no, but like, this is not healthy, you know? And deep down inside, like, even though this is some like woman, girl, like, you know, kind of expressing that she doesn't mind being fat, like deep down inside, like there's a beautiful girl, but like to someone that's super insecure, sad, and like and just there's a little bit lost, you know what I mean? And yeah, just like I don't know, I just get a little bit upset when I see this kind of being the thing that's kind of, you know, promoted these days.
Yeah, yeah, it's escapism. It's people almost defending the choices that they've made by broadcasting that they are going to embrace it even more. And then you can get to observe that. And I guess the dance here is to be able to observe it without getting emotionally attached to it or getting upset by it. Because one, everybody's responsible for their own journey, and that her perspective is unique to her, and nobody really understands what she's thinking and how she's coping with the way that she is up until this point, right? But it's fascinating to observe, bud. It's like, wow, that we could get more self-destructive and then broadcast that as a way to almost defend our position, to be like, fuck, inside she's probably not only just this beautiful girl, but like really in agony, like trying to
Yes.
figure out, and instead of making it a positive thing and trying to transform and make the hard decisions and choices that you need to reclaim your health, it's like, well, I'm just going to lean into this more and become even more destructive, and then try and make it seem as if it's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's worrying, like in, you know, in many ways, like we are as a like a human race, you know, in a collective, it seems like we like in some, you know, some ways we're like letting ourselves down, you know, that we like accepting this, like that this is okay, how we going, you know, like, and you know, we need to be conscious of that, like together we all kind of like are responsible for thriving and striving. And yeah, I don't know, it's confusing. I think it's very confusing, a lot of this stuff, you know.
It is, and we are all of that.
Yeah.
So we are this, the in shape, the fit, the conscious, and we are the morbidly obese, unconscious, stuck in an old paradigm or some paradigm, and we are all of it. And so the confusing position becomes when we start to go, well, there's a right way and there's a wrong way. And if you're not in the right way, then you know, but we're the right and the wrong, all of us, but so fuck. Yeah. We're gonna witness, we're gonna continue to witness this, right? And we're not the first generation to look at the world this way and see these problems. It's just more broadcast and more pronounced at the moment, because we have access to like things like TikTok and Instagram, where we start to see millions of people around the world. Whereas before it was just in your little town or village, and maybe you had one case or no cases of that, right? So you just didn't see it.
Yeah, I know. It's like that sort of dichotomy, you know, like of like we're living in this weird time where we have so much access to information, where it's like a good thing, you know, but it's also a bad thing. And and we actually living through this, which is very interesting, you know, seeing how people actually treats all this information that's available to them. And I think a lot of the time it's confusing people because there's just so much out there, so many opinions and all these sort of things. And it's like, whoa, where do I go? Yeah, it's interesting, but definitely to just to be like observing it, you know.
Observing it, and then the responsibility for us, if we want to shift, if we want to shift more light on the world and help more people maybe change their destructive behaviors, then our biggest responsibility is to just embody that ourselves, without judging others for being at the place that they're at, because everyone's on their own path and own level of journey. And so, sure, fuck, but it's super interesting, right? Because you look at the world and you're like, but it should be this way. Why is it
Exactly.
not? But it just is. It just is. It's the whole acceptance thing without laying down and being a pacifist. You can still accept things for the way they are, which means that you're at peace with everything, knowing that the only thing you're really in control of is your own inward journey. And then Eckhart Tolle says, so what you accept, you move beyond. In other words, there's no longer resistance when you accept things, and therefore the suffering ends, and therefore you can move forward. It's like we spoke about the yoga, right?
Yeah.
Instead of forcing the position, relax into it, and then suddenly you move forward. And I think consciously as a human species, that little lesson is important for all of us to sort of understand and then embrace and then practice. Because for us to move forward, if we keep struggling and forcing things on people and forcing our ideas on people and forcing people to behave in a way that we think is correct based on our viewpoint, which only causes more friction and resistance and trouble. Then we can move towards a place of peace.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. There's a lot of learning to be had, through this information era that we are currently going through, like so much, and it's going to take a lot of patience. It's going to take a lot of relearning, reprogramming, and just kind of trying to understand each other and where we're coming from on a much sort of better level, I guess. So yeah, interesting, but also just talking about that, it's we got a little puppy this week, Bella, right? Wow, but what like a kind of breath of fresh air this little dog is, and almost like this massive like kind of motivator for, I don't know, just to be like even more alive in life, and just be conscious of the love that she gives you. And just, I don't know, but it's just been such an amazing experience having this little dog. We've only had her like since Sunday night, and she's just like, I don't know, I almost feel like maybe I needed her to come into my life at this point, it's just been so good. I mean, I've spent so much time with her this week, and like really trying to like train her, and just it's a total new adjustment getting into a new routine with her, and like waking up like super early.
Here's a question for you. If you could tell me the two major reasons for you and Marissa deciding firstly to get Bella, and then now having had her for nearly a week, what are the two things that have surprised you the most that you were not expecting about having a puppy in the house?
The reason we got it, we've always wanted one, both of us, that was the plan. Like literally once we got to Portugal, which we obviously haven't got to yet, the first thing we wanted to do was get a dog. And just because I haven't had a dog since I was 18 when I left South Africa, but like I haven't had my own dog, so it's been a long time. And I just dig them, and I don't know, there wasn't like any major we were just like, we've always wanted one, let's now do it, because we don't know how long we're going to be here. Let's not stop our dreams from happening. Let's just carry on and do it. And that was the reason. And we were just like, so cool, and the two big, I mean, I don't know if they've been like things I didn't expect, but they've been things that are really awesome. Is seeing how well Marissa and I work together as a team, and that's been really cool. I'll take her certain times, she'll take her certain times. We'll we'll both like encourage, the dog to spend time with the other one, and like, here's mommy, here's daddy, sort of thing. Like there's not like a competition. There is like, as a joke, you're like, oh, daddy's girl, oh no, she likes mommy. You know what I mean? But that's been really cool. But I think the other thing, actually, that if I have to say, that the biggest surprise is how she's taught me to be like really present. Like, I'm not spending anywhere near as much time as I was, like, say, on, say, Telegram, or Twitter, or just like, that's, I'm like, not even going there. And like, in the moment, like, I'm not even taking my phone with me on our walks and stuff. I'm just like, this is me and you, my little girl. Let's make the most of these times. So yeah, that's it. And maybe actually probably the biggest one is like, well, we don't have kids yet, we currently trying, but it's it gives you a newfound respect for parents. Like, I know this is just the dog sort of thing, but like, you realize, whoa, they have their work cut out in many ways. You know what I mean? And if you don't work as a team, which I don't think a lot of couples do, then you flip and doomed. You know what I mean? And I can understand why, like, in those first 2 years, so many couples probably get divorced, because they just don't work as a team. And I think that's really important to do when when you have a new responsibility.
That's beautiful. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like these are training wheels for you, bud, for the real deal when you do have your kid out.
Tell me about it. Yeah, tell me about it. Yeah, and your kind of like thoughts on things change. So like, we live in an apartment, and like, yesterday I was walking around. I took Bella to these like beautiful sand dunes that we have just behind us now, and there was a house that we have actually looked at before that is like available for rent again. And I just came home last night, and I was like, we need to get that house to rent, because like, it's just not cool to have, for the dog to have her in an apartment. You know what I mean? Like, and it's nice just to kind of like have some, like, a lot of outdoor space and a garden and stuff. And I think you just start thinking a little bit differently. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Because it's no
So
longer just about you and your needs. Now you're taking care of another creature. It's beautiful, right? And isn't it
it is.
amazing how it's so wired into our system to switch gears from only looking after ourselves to suddenly really worrying and being concerned about another creature when they're in our care, especially dogs, dude. Like, why is it that
Yeah.
a dog specifically is, that special relationship that's formed between a human and a dog? It's amazing, right?
It's so amazing, bud. I just think that, like, with dogs, they just love you like unconditionally. You know what I mean? Like, there's no judging. They're hardly ever in a bad mood. So I think that's why humans are like so attached, and have such deep relationships with dogs, because just that undying like affection that you get like constantly, just makes you vibe higher, and you just connect more with them. So I don't know, I think that's why I just think that's why we have a good relationship with them, and we treat them so well.
But it's fascinating. Miami is such a dog-centric city. Like, there are more dogs here per capita than I think probably anywhere in the world. It's ridiculous.
Wow.
And Maritza has made a whole business out of dog sitting and looking after dogs and walking dogs, right? But what is interesting to note is when you see owners with dogs, often, probably 90% of the time, from what I can tell, is that the dog looks like the owner or the owner looks like the dog. It's almost like you pick the dog that matches your look and personality a little bit. And the ones that have had their dogs for a long time, you start to notice that whatever's going on in the human starts to happen in the dog. It's almost like there's this energetic imprint that happens. And I noticed the other day, some lady, she had like a little limp in her right leg, and the dog had a little limp in its right leg. And it's almost like, wow, there is so much energetic connection and imprinting that happens between a human and a dog when they spend lots of time together. They pick up on each other's ailments and personalities and characteristics. It's fascinating.
Yeah, it is fascinating. Yeah, I mean, I've often heard about the owner and a dog looks like each other, and it's it's very true in many
Some better
cases.
looking than others.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. um but yeah, it is just the I don't think humans take enough notice of the connection or connections that we can have with animals, and not just like dogs. Dogs is like a given, basically. We do connect with them, but also probably, like you were saying, on a deeper level than we're even aware. But you can make such amazing connections with animals that like go beyond our wildest imaginations. I mean, you remember that documentary of that South African guy, the octopus friend, my friend the octopus, something like that.
Teacher.
Octopus teacher. Yeah. I mean, how can you even explain that? But there is something between humans and animals, and I think for a long time we've forgotten it, but we seem to be getting it again, or maybe just with the availability of information, we're seeing it more. I don't know, but yeah, there is so much there. We forget that we are actually kind of animals in many ways, and we are part of this whole ecosystem. So yeah.
But that is the most important lesson for us to learn again, is that we are of the earth. We come from the earth. We are intrinsically birthed and peopled out of the earth. But of course, we're connected to the same intelligence, but that is in us, is in every animal around us. And just because we look at it through different lenses and we have a slightly different way of being able to process information, doesn't mean that these animals are any less intelligent or perfect for their environment. And it's heartbreaking to see how we've just unconsciously gone and absolutely ripped up and destroyed the environment the way that we have, as if we're separate from it, only to come back full circle to realize, oh shit, we're very much dependent on this biodiversity. Have you seen that new David Attenborough documentary?
Which one was it? Sorry.
I think it's called like, I want to say 50 Years in the Wild or something. Basically, it was his last one, and he went back in time from when he was like 20 years old, when he first started doing these wildlife documentaries. And then they documented every decade, and then they showed the statistics of how much wild was left and the population of the earth. And then the next decade, population of the earth, how much wild was left until today. And it's just like, oh my God, what the fuck are we doing? And in the beginning, it's all like, wow, how wondrous and how amazing, and look at and then you just start to see it being depleted. And then basically his last part of that documentary was like, what can we still do to try and reverse this? And then he goes back to nature to show us what nature does to find balance again. And if enough of us start to make the changes, and we push for the reform needed across the world, we can still reverse a lot of the damage that we've done. But man, it's we've come far quickly in terms of that slippery slope.
Yeah, I agree, but I think I just don't like we use too much, so we overconsume basically, and we create too much rubbish, and we don't like, probably on an individual level, like recycle it like properly and enough, I mean, it's crazy when you travel in different countries, but and you see things, like we before we got to Brazil, we were traveling all through Asia, and you've been there, I mean, plenty of times. You traveled plenty more than me, but you there, like every single thing is given to you in plastic. You go to like you buy yourself a smoothie or something from one of those little side street vendors. That gives you like the plastic cup, and then like and then like a plastic bag just to carry your flipping your cup, and like all, you know, it's just like, but there's like overboard, but like next level, you know what I mean? And it's also weird. So like, I mean, here in Brazil, like in the shopping centers, I don't know about all of them, but the one we go to, all the fruit, not like 95% of the fruit is like loose, you know, it's not in bags or anything, which is awesome, you know, like I love it, you know. But the problem is like they have those clear little plastic bags, you know, those, you know, the clear ones, and then everyone goes and they gets their own fruit, but they put them in bags again, you know what I mean, like in those little plastic bags. And it's just so, it's like, okay, it kind of defeats the object in many ways, you know. Yeah, but it's, I mean, I don't know what the answer is to a lot of this stuff is, you know, but we do have to become more conscious of just how much we use, but in everything, you know. And I think that will go a long way towards helping us revive the environment.
Yeah. But I mean, we're so dependent on the systems created around us. You know, you think about the supermarket example, that's the system they have in place. And you're like, well, I want to change that. But so how else do I pick my fruits and carry my fruits and make it convenient for me to actually walk home without a plastic bag? And it's like, until we start to change what we put in place to help people operate at that level, you know, until they start to become, oh, you know, you walk in and you grab your fruit basket, right, which maybe is a, you know, a wooden or reusable tray, for example, and you pick your fruit and then you carry that around the supermarket to the till, and you know, people start bringing their own bags to the shopping centers, then people are just going to do what's most convenient.
Mm-hmm.
And this is human nature, right? We go towards the path of least resistance. So yeah, the system needs to change. People need to become more conscious that actually take your own bags. And again, to the system, like in Europe, for example, most of the shopping centers don't have bags available for you. So if you rock up to do your shopping without a bag, you're fucked. It's not like, oh, you know what now? It's like, no, bud, you should have brought your bag. So people are forced to change their behavior because that's the system. And yeah, in the States here as well, but the same sort of waste mentality. And I hate it. I personally, what me and Maritza create here in terms of waste per week, it's astounding. And it's like, I know it's wrong, but fuck, what else? How else do we operate in this world when that's what's available, you know?
Yeah. It is a challenge, like on many levels, you know, like you said, the system is created in a certain way, and it's sometimes difficult to just kind of get out of that never ending loop sort of thing. But we all need to, you know. I think it's there's nothing more important than using less and just stop polluting. Fucking stop polluting, people. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Maybe that's a good way to end.
Way to end. Yes, and I'm thinking about my fruit and veg shopping tomorrow with the bags I'm going to take, because we've got a ton. I did a cupboard clean this morning. I've got a ton of reusable bags. I'm like, why do I never just always take these with me, you know? And then go pick the loose fruit and veg and put them into that bag instead of some plastic thing that's available there. So it's a good reminder. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure, buddy. My pleasure. Well, yeah, bud. Awesome chatting as always. Yeah, hope you have a flipping awesome weekend, bud.
Thank you, my buddy, and enjoy playing with Bella this weekend.
Yeah, yes. We bought, just to finish, we bought a little like a basket thing that goes like you can attach it to your bicycle, but not like in the normal way. It's in a different way, so it's a bit more secure. And we're going to take her like cycling on the beach, like, but put her in the thing. You know, we'll let her run a lot of the way because she's a fit little thing. But we're going to take her for a little trip, which is going to be awesome on the beach. So yeah, thanks, man. I'm looking forward to that.
Awesome, brother. Take lots of photos for us, huh?
Yeah, definitely, bud. Cool, man.
All right, my bud. Send you lots of love, Chana. Have a good weekend.
You too, Chana. Love you, man. Cheers, buddy.